Matthew chapter 9, verse 20. Oh boy, that's good. I'm just trying to decide what we're preaching tonight, because I've been given a little bit of material here, and I'm trying to decide if I should go with what the Lord said or what y'all said. I'm not sure. So, anyway, Matthew chapter 9, verse number 23. We covered some of this last week, but we'll just keep going. Matthew 9:23. And when Jesus came into the ruler's house and saw the minstrels and the people making a noise, he said to them, "Give place, for the maiden's not dead, but sleepeth." And they laughed him to scorn. But when the people were put forth, he went in and took her by the hand, and the maid arose, and the fame thereof went abroad in all that land. And when Jesus departed thence, 2 blind men followed him, crying, saying, "Thou Son of David, have mercy on us." Now, we have a girl healed from death, and now 2 blind men wanting their sight, right one on top of the other. I love it. Just want to remind you all of what happened with this young girl. We won't preach it again, but it's amazing to me that it didn't matter if everybody scorned him. It didn't matter if it seemed like there was no solution. He put all the mockers out, and he took care of business. And my prayer, I just want to throw this out there, my prayer for Gospel Light Baptist Church is that all the mockers go and we just take care of business. That wasn't a dig on anybody here. No, I want all of y'all here. What I'm saying, I want God to protect our church. And I want definitely to have people we can help. Definitely want to have people that we can, they may be rough, they may be tough, broken people, try to break people, hurt people, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about mockers and scorners, and those that come into a church only to, I don't know why people come into a church to change the church. Just call the church and see, are you like me? And if they're not, go somewhere else. Not to that church. I don't understand that. Not that we're having that issue at all, that I can tell, but it happens. I have struggled with that, and it just made me think, why? There's a church on every corner. Some of them share an auditorium for the afternoon with somebody else. There's plenty of places to go if you don't agree. And I guarantee you, probably things you don't agree with me here, but we'll go on. But the whole thing is that he didn't care. He cast out all the mockers and scorners and said, we got to do business. And I tell you this, when we come to church or when we get in our Bibles, it's time for business. It's time to be real. It's time to make to just do things with business with the Lord for all intents and purposes. Let me ad nauseum. We're going to go on down through the end of this chapter, hopefully. When he was come, did my page change? No. And when Jesus departed, verse 27, thence 2 blind men followed him, crying and saying, "Thou Son of David, have mercy on us." And he was come into the house, the blind men came to him. And Jesus saith unto them, "Believe ye that I'm able to do this?" They said unto him, "Yea, Lord." Then touched he their eyes, saying, "According to your faith it be unto you." So he healed these men. And he asked them first, he said, "Hey, do you believe I can do it?" And I think that's what it comes down to in the Christian life. If you want healing, the question Christ is asking is, do you believe you can? I'm not talking about healing from blindness, so that occurs. I'm not talking about healing from cancer, that occurs. We do not have the same healing ministry that was present in the book of Acts and the Gospels. There is no miraculous, me lay my hands on you and you get healed. And a lot of the healers of today will use a verse like this and other verses, according to your faith. So they'll say, oh, that person's not healed because they lacked faith, and that person wasn't healed because they lacked faith. No, that's not consistent in the Bible. Sometimes Jesus healed despite somebody's faith. Remember the one guy that said, "I don't have faith enough. Forgive me my unbelief." He didn't have any. My opinion is, if there's still the ministry of healing like in Acts, where and nobody hit anybody with a sports coat in Acts. They didn't have no sports coats. But the premise is nobody hit people to get them healed. You didn't buy somebody's handkerchief to be healed. You didn't send a seed of $1,000 hoping your $200 electric bill will be paid. Can you imagine? Like, let me send Hen $1,000 so my $200 electric bill can be paid. You say, is anybody that dumb? He has a jet, a mansion or 3, golden walkways. I mean, yeah, people are that silly. The whole point here is, though, that Jesus did ask him, hey, do you believe I can do it? And I think there's a lot of things in our lives, depression, anger, anxiety, sin, pornography, addiction of any sort that is in our life, and we want freedom from it. And Jesus says, do you believe I can? Because what it comes down to is you know you can't. You've done tried that before. Now there are people, don't get me wrong, the outliers exist. They quit drinking and they never go back. They quit smoking and they never go back. They stop doing drugs and they never go back. They're outliers. Outliers never assist in the statistical analysis of anything. For the most part, we can't do it, and we need God. And by the way, those that usually get off alcohol are later addicted to Coca-Cola or sugar. We just transfer the addiction from one thing to the next and say, I got freedom. And the fact is, we're never free until we go to God. And God makes us free. Now, I just want to give that call this evening. Do you believe He can? Do you believe He can free you from depression? Do you believe that He can make your heart new and you don't have to be bitter and angry anymore? Do you believe that He can work in the heart of your child? Do you believe that He can... I've had plenty of people say, Pastor, what's wrong with the church? Why isn't it growing? First of all, have you watched lately? Second of all, we had 1 year with no visitors. And the men in the church got really nervous. Like, what's going on? Now, looking back, I kind of know. No, what's going on? And the whole point is, do you believe God can do this? These men were blind when He asked. He didn't ask healed people. He didn't ask sighted people. He asked people who had a problem, do you believe it? You don't know how much faith you have till you find yourself down in the pit. You find yourself realizing, hey, look, it's God or nothing. And I think we appreciate growth in a church when it's God or nothing. Sometimes I've considered donating our chairs to another church and us just having to, Indian style in here. Because I remember how excited people were when we didn't have nice chairs. We didn't have carpet. We didn't have paint on the walls. And back then, Jesus was saying, do you believe I can? And I'll tell you right now, Jesus is still saying it. Do you believe I can? Believe I can heal that. Do you believe I can make that better in your life? No, we are a selfish society that believes everything should be made our way. Don't tie Him up in that. But there are needs in our lives. Sometimes we're so caught up in the wants of our lives we don't see the needs. Sometimes we're so caught up in the drama of everyday life we don't realize our own personal, individual, spiritual needs. And I understand that. But God's saying, do you believe me? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I believe Him. I believe that He can. I can give you evidence. I can give you stories, and many of you can too. I believe that He can. And Jesus asked, do you believe? They said yes, and He said, well, good, because however much you believe, that's what's going to happen. Now, I will say this. I wonder sometimes if a church's growth is hindered because the faith of the folks in the church is hindered. We don't really believe He can do that. I'll tell you what, that belief has some strings attached to it. Sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes we've got to get out of our comfort zone. Sometimes we've got to do things that are hard and to see that growth. But God says, do you believe I can do it? Then go out and pass the track out. Do you believe I can do it? Then go. We have a sign ministry. I haven't done it in a while. We need to do it again. We have signs up there. If you want to go sit on a street corner and hold some signs and have some free Bibles, we've got some free Bibles there. We've got some signs up there. Feel free. You're good. You can go. Signs. Holding signs? She thought I said science. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we can do some experiments. How long can we stand out in the sun without dying? But no, the truth, we got things. But I'm just saying, hey, do you believe? And their eyes were open, verse 30, and Jesus straightly charged them, saying, see that no man knoweth. And they said, Son of David, have mercy on us. They followed Jesus. They shouted their recognition of Him as the Messiah. The Son of David was a messianic title. They believed. Yet He asked them again, do you believe? And they had to verbally say, there's something about verbally saying things. There's something about, we do the stop, think, submit, turn it over to God. There's something about actually saying, hold on, Lord, I'm stopping right here. And saying, okay, Lord, out loud. Why? Because you hear it. It just enforces what's going on. You're more accountable to it. They asked Jesus for the best thing they could. Did they ask Him for healing from His blindness? Their blindness? No. They said, have mercy on us, Son of David. The implication is, heal our eyes. But the open end of that question could be, I'm not going to heal your eyes, but I'm going to give you better hearing. Or I'm not going to heal your eyes, but I'm going to give you a ministry as a blind person. I might not heal you. See, it opens it up to have mercy. We come in with our list. And we say, Lord, this is what I want, and this is what I want, and this is what I want, and this is what I want. And we bless Him when we get it, and we don't when we do not. Well, why not rather say, Lord, have mercy on me? Mercy. Whatever that is. I've got plans, you've got plans. If you don't have plans, I worry about you. I do. He did say, don't say you're going to go in the city. Say if the Lord wills, you'll go to the city. And if He doesn't will, you don't. It's okay. But we should have some kind of desire, goal, plan. But we want to align that with God. I want to say, Lord, have mercy on me. I don't know what the answer looks like, God, but You do. And will You have mercy on me? It's also the first time Jesus is called the Son of David. And they were confessing Him as the Messiah. Verse 22, just back a little bit, says, but Jesus turned him about, and when He saw her, He said, Daughter, be of good comfort, thy faith hath made thee whole. And the woman was made whole from that hour. Oh no, that's the wrong verse. John. We're in the right chapter, wrong book. I was like, that's not what I'm trying to say. John 9:22. And the Bible says there, one more page. These words spake His parents because they feared the Jews. For the Jews had agreed already that if any man did confess that he was Christ, he should be put out of the synagogue. This is a blind man. And it's interesting to me, I love it, because the blind man gets healed. He gets called before the Sanhedrin. They ask him who did this. They say, Jesus. They bring his parents in. I think they brought his parents in first. They bring his parents in to say, hey, is this your son? What happened to him? And they said, why don't you ask him? He's of age. Have you ever asked me why my kids do something? You know what I'm going to tell you? Why don't you ask them? They're of age. That's what I'm going to say. But the truth is that these folks were afraid of the Pharisees. The parents were afraid, so they deflected the conversation. These men here, not afraid. He's the Messiah. He's the one that all the Scriptures point to. He's the one that can't only heal my eyes, because that's in the Scripture. The blind are made to see in Isaiah. But He can have mercy on me. Mercy. Who can grant mercy? Well, only the judge. So Jesus could grant that mercy, and He's the only one that could, and they recognized it. They were coming to the house. He asked them if they believed, and He healed them in response to their faith. They simply proclaimed their faith by saying, yes, Lord. He touched them with His hand, but they have to touch Him with their faith. You remember the lady that was healed of an issue of blood just prior to this? And what did she do? She came to touch Him with faith. You can't stand aloof and receive of Christ. You're not going to stand in the wings and say, God bless me and I'll come forth. But He expects for us to come forth and live for Him. I'm crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I but Christ. His faith has to have boots. Our faith does. Show me thy faith without thy works. I'll show thee my faith by my works. What are you doing for Jesus? Well, maybe it runs back to, do you believe that He can? Do you believe that He can? We have to tie those things together in our lives. Folks get out of God's will because they don't believe He can. And they get upset about situational events because they don't believe He can. They get upset about something might happen at church because they don't believe He can. Well, I just wish He'd take care of them. That's not what He promised. Maybe He promised to give you grace while He imparts mercy upon them. That's hard to do. How hard is it? Think of your worst enemy. Okay, that didn't take long. Oh, if we didn't have her, my life would be colorless. Think of your worst enemy. Did you see that? Did you feel that pressure change? The door opened. They're walking in. They're about to sit down in a chair. You know that walk because they're your worst enemy. You know what the back of their head looks like because you've looked at it long enough wanting to hit it with something. Remember in high school they'd turn that class ring around and back on the back of the head. Anybody ever been the receiver of that? It don't feel good. You've been aiming up. They're your worst enemy. They walked in the door. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe God can? You believe God can forgive them? You believe God can heal their ill? I'm talking about their attitude that made you hate them. You believe God can reconcile that relationship between you and them? Because guarantee you, sitting here at Gospel Light Baptist Church, the chances are high that your worst enemy is going to walk in here. Ask me how many times I've seen that happen. I would like to poll my pastor friends. How many times you've been sitting in a church and the worst enemy of one of your good church members walked in the back door? And I'm willing to bet most of them say, none. Maybe one if they've been pastoring 40 years. I've had it happen so many times here. This person, that person broke that fist fight up right before it started. I'm telling you, I don't understand. Because I believe God can fix that. I believe God can heal that. I believe God can make that better. You say, why did you use that illustration? Because it's a very poignant illustration. Because it's very that's one of those things that you would like to say, I would like to say, I want to serve Jesus but not with them. I want to serve Jesus but not here. I want to serve Jesus but not in that way. And he just said, do you believe me? And they said yes, and he made them whole. Have mercy on us. I don't remember seeing them ask for blind healing. Did you see that? I didn't either. Because they didn't. They just asked for mercy, and Jesus knew what they needed. That's cool. That's cool to me. Just ask for mercy. Jesus knows. I just want us to... I'm not, like I said, I apologize. I'm not the most prolific, wondrous, amazing pastor that ever existed in the history of mankind. I'm probably down there like at the bottom. I'm that guy looking up at Spurgeon going, wow, one day. And my mansion's on the south side of heaven. Yeah, I grew up there. Yeah, with leeches in the middle. Yeah. So, hey, look, God created them. I guess they'll be in heaven. And so, part of the curse. Yeah. They won't suck on some people anyway. So some people can go get in any lake and no leech will ever attach. But anyway. He knew it. He knew what they needed. I'm trying to get us to understand, maybe I'm not the greatest pastor, but my clarion call is always going to be, have a close relationship with Him. Have an intimate relationship with Him. I'm going to tell you what, there is nobody in this world you shouldn't be able to minister alongside because you can trust God. You can trust Him. Well, they might hurt me again. Yeah? I got scars too. I'm sometimes very uncomfortable wearing this jacket because things catch. Sorry, I'm a little sarcastic tonight. It's okay. The whole point, though, is that I look back on 20 years of salvation, and I praise God because there's nobody I couldn't go back to and say, you're forgiven. I praise God for that because it's only Him. So, do you believe? Believe ye, I'm able to do this. And according to your faith, be it unto you. We talked about all that. According to your faith doesn't mean in proportion to your faith, but rather because you believe, your request is granted. I want to clear that up for you. If you're writing your Bible, maybe you can put that next to it. It doesn't mean you have 5 ounces of faith, you get 5 ounces of mercy. It means you have faith, you get mercy. Because you had faith. You know, the widow threw her mite into the treasury. M-I-T-E, not M-I-G-H-T. She threw a penny into the treasury. She threw her penny into the treasury. And God said she's more faithful than all the other rulers of Israel. Because she threw all she had. The point wasn't how much she had, it was that she had. She had faith. You may have less faith than your neighbor. I hear people, they'll say things like, boy, I wish I could have the faith you have. Or, boy, that seems easy to you. Well, first of all, you don't know what's going on in here. It ain't easy all the time. Sometimes it's not as easy as you think. Maybe it's just apathy. Okay, the Lord's going to take care of it. That ain't the right attitude either. The whole point is that it's not how much you believe, it's that you believe. Maybe you don't have the same faith as your neighbor, but you have faith, so God will work. And He can grow that faith. The word of power in that last sentence is one upon which He acts so continually that we may call it as to many blessings, a rule of the kingdom. We have the measuring of our own mercies. Our faith obtains less or more according to its capacity, but because we have faith, we receive. We have faith, we receive. The faith of the blind men is worthy of notice. They have faith to follow Jesus, forsaking other paths. They had faith to cry out, willing to put words to their desire. They had the faith to make some noise, to be unafraid of being embarrassed. They had the faith to, how much faith did you think they had? Read the story. They had faith to follow Him, forsaking everything else. They had faith to cry out, verbally asking how many of us, we want something, but we'll just be quiet. If I want to ask, but I don't want to embarrass myself. I want to ask, but I don't want people to hear me ask. I want to ask, but I don't. They had the faith to ask. They had the faith to make noise, not care if they were embarrassed. They had the faith to identify Christ as the Son of David when others simply recognized Him as a smart man, which could have got them put to death just like him by saying that. They had the faith to ask Jesus for mercy. What does mercy mean? Mercy means they knew they didn't deserve healing. How many of us come to Christ saying, I don't deserve this, but will you show me mercy? No, many Christians come and they say, give this to me, I deserve it. It's time for me to get mine. Everybody else gets blessing. Where's my blessing, Lord? They healed the girl that was dead, healed the woman with the issue of blood, healed. My turn, they said. Oh, no, they didn't. They said, I don't deserve a turn, God. Have mercy on me. What a statement. They had the faith to believe that Jesus could heal them, would heal them. They had the faith to say, yes, Lord. A lot bound up in that few verses, isn't there? When you break down what they had the faith to do. And then they said, see that no man knoweth. And here's what's great. I've always wondered about this, and I kind of had a thought. Is it an epiphany or is it just silly? I don't know. But I had a thought. Jesus said, don't tell anybody anything a couple of times. And every time they went out and went, brah, bought billboards. Tell all about it. You know, extra, extra, running out there in the streets. And you think about this. These men had the faith to follow Him. They had the faith, all these things I just listed. But when He said, don't tell anybody, they couldn't help it. Their rejoicing over His healing in their life overrid everything else. Now, I'm not giving them excuses. He said don't, they shouldn't have. What I'm saying is these men that feared Him so greatly could not hold in. They were so excited about what happened to them. Are we excited about what happens to us? Are we so rejoicing? I'm not making an excuse. They should have shut up. They didn't. But I am using it as a thought process that are we ever so excited that it would take an act of God to shut us up? When's the last time you got so excited about something did? Oh, it was the last time Jesus did anything to me. Sit down. Oh, you are. I could walk you through so many things in your life if you let me interview you that you could be rejoicing in. I could. You could too if you just sit down and do it. When's the last time you got so excited you couldn't hold it in? When's the last time Jesus Himself would have had to hold your lips to shut you up? The moment they're out of His sight, there's no control. Now, we could go a different way with that, but I'm just trying to get you to understand. Be excited about the things God did. Come in, next weekend is Rejoice Wednesday. Wacky Wednesday? I don't know. I'm trying to think of a rejoice, a W that goes a Wednesday that's rejoicing. Get a thesaurus out. Wonderful Wednesday. Wow Wednesday. Wowzers Wednesday. Worshiping Wednesday. Now we're going to come to next Wednesday. I'm going to get through the sermon and I'm going to say, okay, praise reports. Wow. Well, we had an exciting month, didn't we? I'm not getting on to you. I'm just saying they couldn't help it. You say, well, Pastor, you lead us. Right. That's why I'm not getting on to you. Because I'm talking to me too. I don't get overjoyed about anything. I don't get really depressed about much. I kind of have a flat affect at times. And I just sometimes think, why don't I rejoice in the things that God's done? Now, if you came to me and said, hey, here's $1 million, my heart's going to stop for half a second. I'm going to call you a liar for the other half of the second. And then I'm going to wish you'd given me enough to leave me with $1 million after taxes. And then I'm going to get excited. I'm going to hoot and holler. I'm going to call my mama. I'm going to pay off my family's, I'm going to pay off my sister's debt, my brother's debt, my mama's debt. She didn't have any, so that's easy. I'm going to pay all these things off. You say, would you really do that with $1 million? Yeah, what else am I going to do? Pay my debt off, pay their off. That's all I need. Build a church. It'd take more than that. That'd be a down payment. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. 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 Yeah, everything I looked at 12 years ago was at least $750,000 to do anything around here. So that was 12 years ago. So, but there's that. Or you had some kind of something on there already, but you got to buy the property at that and then put a building on it. It just blows your mind. God's good though. He'll answer that when it's time. He'll answer that when it's time. Now people say, preacher, why are we renting instead of building a building? Well, you tell me. Go do the math. But anyway, we're done. Rejoice. If I gave you $1 million right now, you'd smile. You'd get excited. You'd probably call somebody. You'd probably have a hard time saying what happened because you'd be so excited. Jesus gave you life eternal. My Father owns a cattle on 1,000 hills. Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. One of them's yours. I'm coming back to get you, to give you the deed. Woo! How exciting. I've got a church to go to. There are times I could have quit and you wouldn't have had one here. I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about in the past. What a burden. But anyway. No. Anyway, the point here is, the point is that we rejoice in the Lord. Let's see if I can finish. No, I can't. Miss Magna was right. Okay. I'll do this poll. If you're not getting anything because we're going too slow, let me know and we'll go faster. Get it. I'm pretty fun to pick at. I didn't look at the dates, honestly. You know what, though? You know what? I'm rubber. You're glue. It's been 52 weeks. Yeah. It's been 52 weeks. I seriously, no. From 1 to 9, it's 52 weeks.